De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Lara, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nilsson, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wachowski, Wolk.
Colleagues, the Secretary notices that we are severely absent a quorum. Would all members please come to the Senate floor for our 4 p.m. session? All senators to the Senate chamber. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Canella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Lara, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nilsson, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wykowski, Wolk.
A quorum is present. So members and guests beyond the rail and in the gallery, please rise. We will be led in prayer this afternoon by our guest chaplain, Senator Ted Gaines. And while we wait for him, I'd like to acknowledge under personal privilege my former colleague, Helen Thomas, is here with us in the back of the room. Welcome and greetings to you. And after the prayer, we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag by Senator Galgiani.
I'm kind of high up on this, aren't I? Okay, here we go. Let us pray. Dear God, we pray for the victims of the airliner crash in France and the students that lost their lives and the families that were impacted. And pray for Fran Pavley's husband for healing and recovery. And pray for Senator Stone and the recent passing of his father, that there would be closure. We pray for our families and our loved ones. We pray for the great state of California and its natural beauty, this diverse population of creators and innovators and hardworking individuals that are providing for their families. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, we are going to go immediately to third assembly reading. Senator Huff, for what purpose, sir?
Republican caucus in the Cox Lounge.
Republican caucus is called in the Cox Lounge. Republican caucus. The Senate will come back into session, please. Caucus has concluded. Mr. Secretary, please read the committee report. All members, we are back in session.
Madam President, the Committee on Budget and Fiscal Review, to which were referred Assembly Bill 91 and Assembly Bill 92, reports the same back with a recommendation do pass. Above bills ordered to third reading.
Under Assembly third reading, item 16, Senator Leno. All right, Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 91 by the Assembly Committee on Budget, enact relating to the state budget and making appropriation therefore to take effect immediately. Budget bill.
Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, as we all well and painfully know, California is in the midst of a very serious and historic drought. As a result, the Senate, in partnership with the governor, along with the Assembly, has drafted a couple of bills, one a budget bill, the other a budget trailer bill, to deal with the fact of our drought. And given that Senator Wolk has been very much a part of the negotiations over this process, Madam President, without objection, I would like to allow Senator Wolk to do the presentation for both the budget bill and the budget trailer bill.
Without objection, Senator Wolk.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, first, I'd just like to make a couple comments about the need for this package, although you all know from your districts what an extraordinary drought we are in. This is the fourth year, and it truly is unprecedented. In fact, in my opinion, I don't think the drought is any longer an aberration, and I fear that it may be the new normal for California. We are presenting two bills to you today, AB 91, the first, is the appropriations bill, and then we'll move to AB 92, which is the trailer bill. Both 91 and 92 will respond to this crisis early. The emergency legislation will provide funding for several drought relief efforts to existing programs that we know work ahead of the normal budget schedule. Now, there will be more action in the Budget Subcommittee and in the Budget Committee in June, and we expect to go through the process and provide more assistance to local government. More significantly, AB 91 will provide 3 general areas of assistance: $267 million for water development, including water recycling, desalination, and drinking water. It is important to understand that the State Water Board is the agency that is going to be in charge of these particular funds of Proposition 1. There is a lot more Proposition 1, but these are existing programs where it can get out the door to the areas of quick need. Then we have $131 million for direct drought response, which will include food assistance, emergency drinking water, protection of fish and wildlife species, invasive species protection, and funding for emergency water supply and education. There are a variety of agencies whose programs are involved in this issue, and frankly, there is a variety of areas throughout the state that these funds will be available for. And lastly, $660 million is appropriated for urban and rural flood capital outlay projects, including direct flood local assistance. Much of this money comes from Proposition 1E, a bond that was passed in 2006 by the voters, primarily for flood protection, chiefly in the Central Valley, but not entirely. The local assistance is broader than that. The restriction by the voters is that it needed to be expended before 2016. So we need to add, we should be responsible and get the money out the door. So I ask for your aye vote. It's a good package, and it's step one in responding to this really extraordinary drought.
Thank you, Senator Wolk. Any debate or discussion? Is there any debate or discussion? Senator Stone.
Thank you, Madam President. Fellow members, I rise today in support of AB 91 with some concerns. I'm very pleased that we are going to be advancing infrastructure through the bond that was passed in 2006. It's unfortunate that it's taken us 9 years now to provide for appropriate flood control infrastructure, and that we're doing it now instead of having infrastructure completed at this time. I also believe that the state of California should lead by example. Caltrans uses billions of gallons of potable water on our state highways. We should be engineering the piping leading to our state highways to use reclaimed water. We also should urge communities, counties like Sacramento that don't have water meters to put those water meters in place before 2025, as we have an emergency here. And I believe that if you put water meters on homes, businesses like we do in Southern California, that people will certainly pay more attention to the water they use if they, in fact, don't cut back, because they're going to be paying higher water bills. My concern also is that we're not spending any money on storage, which means that we are not doing anything to deliver more water to the tap, where the citizens are not seeing the benefits of this $1 billion today. But I have heard that we're more interested in protecting fish and habitat. I hope that as we proceed through this water debacle, this water crisis, that we think about the citizens of this state that are struggling with water, especially our farmers in the Central Valley, where this is a precious resource that feeds the nation that we export this produce throughout the world, I believe we need to take the citizens' plight into consideration and move forward as quickly as we move forward on these bills with addressing the storage needs to provide dependable water quality in the future and presently for our residents. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Further debate or discussion on this item? Any further debate and discussion? Seeing none. Senator Wolk, if you would like to close.
Thank you. All of the issues that have been brought up are worthy of a little bit of discussion. We are not in disagreement, anyone in this room, about the importance of measuring and taking every drop of water seriously. The city of Sacramento, since it's close to my heart after all, although I don't represent them, in fact, just appropriated a fair amount of money, and I don't remember how much, perhaps Dr. Pan would tell us, to accelerate the metering, which should, I agree with you, should have been done. It should be done everywhere. And as for storage, we agree storage is extremely important. In the bond, there's $2.7 billion for storage, the variety of storages, storage underground, above ground, and that is under the purview of the California Water Commission. And in fact, Senator Nielsen and Assemblymember Pavley and I had a very fine budget hearing at which this issue was thoroughly discussed, and they are moving forward. So I think you'll be pleased about that. These are good. There's something in this for every community that has a dramatic need about drought, and that's all of us. I would ask for your aye vote.
All debate having ceased, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Cannella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Galgiani. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Hueso. Aye. Huff. Aye. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leyva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. No. Morrell. Wynn. Aye. Nilsson. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Aye. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Allen. Aye. De Leon. Morrell. Nilsson.
Ayes 35, noes 1. The measure passes. Now we are going to go to file item 17. Senator Wolk, Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 92 by the Assembly Committee on Budget, an act relating to water and making appropriation therefore to take effect immediately. Bill related to the budget.
Senator Wolk.
Thank you, Madam President. AB 92 is a trailer bill that accompanies the budget bill that was just passed. The bill makes several changes in order to help the state agencies respond to drought. Let me give you some examples. The first provides assistance to disadvantaged communities by creating an Office of Sustainable Water Solutions within the State Water Resources Control Board to help communities access funds. We know how difficult it can be to amass the technical and consulting expertise for some small communities, particularly those that have been in disadvantaged areas, and this proposal will assist directly with that. AB 92 also increases the Department of Fish and Wildlife's enforcement authority for illegal diversions, mainly from illegal marijuana cultivation. AB 92 also expands the use of existing program funding to provide emergency drinking water to communities in need, and it also expedites funding by streamlining contract provisions so that we can move forward quickly and get the money out the door to the areas that are in great need. There is also a provision to use the services of the California Conservation Corps, and there are a few other things, but I think those are the main ones, and I'd like to ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Woke. Debate or discussion? Senator Berryhill.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm rise in opposition of this second bill package. These bills have both good news and bad news in them, members. While there is some relief in 91 for certainly our Central Valley towns, that's a really good thing. But evidently there's enough bad news in this bill, AB 92, that it can't be supported by either NACWA or the Farm Bureau. And you know, one of the reasons is every time we do one of these emergency bills, what we really do is expand the authority of government. This time we are expanding the reach of Fish and Wildlife, letting them become judge and jury when it comes to diversions, and it's dangerous policy in my opinion. I will remind everybody also that this bill was put together with absolutely no input from my caucus, and let me remind you that most of the legislators that represent the areas are impacted by this drought. So it is with great disappointment that I urge a no vote on this particular matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Berryhill. Senator Nielsen.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, again of the Senate, we're confronted with an interesting situation, a drought that is being exploited now to give more powers to government. Last year, the two measures, particularly the second one, I believe it was 104 was its number, gave extraordinary powers to the agency of government, exempted that particular authority from having its regulations reviewed by the Office of Administrative Law. Now carry forward. Already that has come home to haunt us. And I give you this example from last year to give you greater caution about where we're at today. I argued in committee last year that that second bill would compromise historic water rights, surface water rights, including pre-1914 and senior rights as well as junior. Shortly thereafter, the board moved ahead with regulations, which did just that. Now, they went after the junior water rights and made a big deal in the regulations saying they wanted to protect senior and pre-1914, but then the caveat, but we can take those water rights. That's where they're headed. What are we doing in this bill? We're creating a new agency of government in a drought relief bill, the Office of Sustainable Water Solutions. Now, nobody has any idea, nor does this bill define what that agency is going to do. They're going to fund it out of existing sources, I understand, and is purported to be doubling its size of numbers of employees. That money will come from fines on water users, diverters, people who take water and divert it from a stream, even if they have the right to that water, they're diverting it. And now they can be deemed illegal diverters. They can face fines. They have already faced cease and desist orders under this. We're giving a lot of power to arbitrary government agencies. Many of you are concerned about the excesses of the University of California that has actual constitutional autonomy. I am concerned too, and I want to see their wings clipped. But simultaneously with giving greater scrutiny to that important agency, an entity, we are now giving the authority to another agency of government, in the Resources Agency, and creating another agency within this Sustainable Water Solutions Department. It's getting hard enough to produce in the state of California now, ladies and gentlemen, for California agriculture. And in our communities, we have to keep in mind, we need food. We need water, and we need food. And by constraining our ability to have water, we're constraining our ability to provide for our grandchildren. We should be mindful of that. And Senator Stone, our hope for the water storage yet is there, okay? Proposition 1 did pass. And it was clearly represented by the governor that this was for surface storage, even in the ballot argument. And in recent weeks in committee, Secretary Laird, in response to my questions, was this money for water storage? He said, absolutely. Now, if we continue to keep the pressure on, that one piece can fall into place, and additional storage for our children's future can occur. Pat yourselves on the back with this and say that we've done something great. We've done something little. We've not done anything enduring, though, except giving agencies of government more power and authority. I urge a no vote.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen. I think Senator Leno was next, followed by Senator Stone, and then a senator from the great northern part of our state. Okay. Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to share with you, colleagues, some of the debate that we had in our Budget Committee hearing today when we heard from Director Bonham of the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Some of these very concerns were raised, and we asked him some very pointed questions, and he was unequivocal. He's also very articulate in recognizing that the department has very limited authority when it comes to civil penalties, and what this bill does with regard to the department's authority is simply that when it observes a new unauthorized and deleterious diversion, and it has to meet all three of those observations, then it would have the ability to apply a civil penalty. There is a rulemaking process for this, and he gave us great assurance that the concerns raised with respect to this process would be addressed through regulation. The authority does not amend any due process laws, so I think that should mitigate any concerns anyone has with regard to these diversions and the authority given in this bill to the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Again, new unauthorized deleterious diversions.
Thank you, Senator Leno. Senator Stone.
Thank you, and thank you, Senator Leno, for making those clarifications. I still am concerned that we're giving Fish and Game authorization to write citations for subjective determinations of new diversion. We don't know, is this going to create more of a need for Fish and Game employees? I think it's very risky. I'm very concerned about the duplication of government. I thought that's what regional quality water boards were for. These are appointed by the governor to help police water quality issues throughout the state of California. We have local water boards, regional water boards. Is this not just more of a duplication that is ultimately going to be placing our farmers and those that use water responsibly in harm's way of yet more government intervention and more fines? I would wish that we could take this provision out of this bill so I could support it. This is one of the main reasons why I just feel like I can't support a bill that's going to be giving police powers to an agency that hasn't had historically those responsibilities before, when I believe we're already covered. We already have agencies that will oversee. And believe me, the water quality boards have significant fining capabilities. I've seen it in my county. I see no reason why they can't police these streams to make sure that nobody is siphoning water from them. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Senator McGuire.
Thank you so much, Madam President, and I do rise in support of AB 92 today. And I'd like to specifically discuss the issue of resources for fish and wildlife. Within AB 92 is $2.2 million, $2.2 million for 11 temporary positions to take on the organized trespass marijuana grows in Northern and Central California. These devastating illegal trespass grows, many on state and federal lands, are literally drying up Northern California rivers. Last summer, was the first year in written record that the Eel River and the Mattole ran dry. And the reason being is the state's historic drought, as well as hundreds of thousands of illegally planted marijuana plants in Northern California watersheds. Illegal trespass grows is the #1 source of sediment in Northern California streams. It's the #1 source of nutrient loads in Northern California streams. These streams are not only drying up, but those that are left, it's now a public safety issue because farmers and ranchers are no longer able to get out into their land because, frankly, they're afraid of being shot. AB 92, I want to reiterate, allows for 11 temporary positions, 2-year positions, to be put into place in Northern and Central California. 60% of the nation's marijuana comes from 3 counties: Mendocino, Humboldt, and Trinity. The cartels, both from Bulgaria and south of the border, have taken hold. They're extremely violent, they're well-funded, and sophisticated. And frankly, there are 300 approximate rangers and wardens that Fish and Wildlife has on the ground in this state right now. And according to Director Chuck Bonham, he could put every ranger on trespass marijuana grows tomorrow and still be outmanned and outgunned and outfunded. I ask for your support for AB 92.
Thank you, Senator McGuire. Senator Anderson. Senator Anderson? No? Put his mic down. Senator Morell.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Just quickly, imagine we're spending $1 billion of taxpayers' money today with virtually no public notice and, of course, no transparency, with even little notice to our body with a budget meeting just a couple of short hours ago. I think this is a wrong process. It's certainly not protecting our taxpayers' money, and it shouldn't be how this body runs or operates, and I think that's why the public is often skeptical of what goes on here. So I do urge a no vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Morell. Any further debate or discussion? Senator Stone, do you wish to speak one more time?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I want to respond to Senator McGuire. I really appreciate his comments. And Senator, we have the same issues in Southwest Riverside County. We have organized crime. We've been working with our district attorney, with our sheriff's department, and it's a problem just not in Northern California. It's a problem in Southern California, too. But I think it would be a more appropriate utilization of the Attorney General's office. This is a public safety issue. When you have these large-scale marijuana cultivation properties that are proliferating through the state of California, and I'm sure the DEA would be very happy to intervene as well. So this is more of a public safety issue. I think the AG can make a lot more sense out of what's going on these large acreages that are allegedly siphoning water off, and save the $2.2 million, and let's put it in the fund to build more water storage facilities so we can have some water coming into our taps in the near future. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Wolk, you may close.
Thank you. I shall. The issues of that Senator McGuire so eloquently described don't need further discussion, but I wanted to emphasize once again some of the other areas and how important they are and how important this bill is. We're talking about 1 million people that do not have access to primary or secondary sources of drinking water, and we are the 8th largest economy in the world, and that is appalling. So what this is attempting to do quickly, among other things, is to make sure that we allow local water districts to be eligible to receive funds to address emergency drinking water needs. That is an expansion of a particular account that needs to happen. The second is involving water efficiency upgrades, allowing for leak repairs in communities where this is a challenge to achieve, expediting the drought response time by suspending some of the contract provisions so that we can provide water to persons or communities, not just fish and wildlife. We're talking about people who do not have access, and increasingly we are concerned about adequate sources of drinking water to citizens in our state. It also makes some changes with respect to the labor code to allow these projects and this funding in local governments to move quickly. And lastly, the Office of Sustainable Water Solutions. It's important that we assist communities who cannot, and it's not simply in the southern part of the Central Valley or in rural areas. It can be in areas in certain parts of LA where you really do have extraordinarily large issues and needs and concerns about the quality of drinking water, and it is essential that there be this technical effort centered in one place so people don't have to go from agency to department to agency, which they cannot afford to do, and it's extremely inefficient. I ask for your aye vote.
All debate having ceased, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Anderson? No. Bates? No. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? No. Block? Aye. Canella? No. De Leon? Fuller? No. Gaines? No. Galgiani? Aye. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Hueso? Aye. Huff? No. Jackson? Aye. Lada? Aye. Leno? Aye. Leyva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? No. Morrell? No. Wynn? No. Nilsson? No. Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Aye. Runner? No. Stone? No. Vidak? No. Wachowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Allen? Aye.
Ayes 24, noes 14. The measure passes. Senator Huff, for what purpose, sir?
Point of personal privilege.
Without objection.
We would be remiss if we didn't welcome our 39th senator, Senator John Morlock from Orange County, who, while we heard his booming baritone voice record his first audible vote, he is here with us today, and we welcome you, Senator John Morlock.
Welcome to our latest and newest senator. Senator Monning.
Thank you, Madam President. I also rise on behalf of the Democratic Caucus and President Pro Tem Kevin De Leon, who can't be here this afternoon, to offer our welcome to our august body here. We look forward to working with you, and congratulations. Thank you for your public service that led you here, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Again, welcome to our newest senator. We are done with all matters, I believe, unless anyone has Senator Lara. For what purpose, sir?
Oh, for the under announcements?
Under announcements.
Thank you, Madam President, members. I'd just like to take a second to acknowledge and recognize my legislative director, Lawrence Cooper, and congratulate him today for becoming a U.S. citizen at a ceremony earlier today in Sacramento. And don't worry, Senator Pan, he's already registered to vote in Sacramento.
Congratulations and welcome to the red, white, and blue. All right, if there is no other business, Senator Fuller, the desk is clear.
The Senate will be in recess until all business is received at the Senate desk, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene Thursday at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Senator Fuller. The Senate will be in recess until all business is received at the Senate desk, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene tomorrow morning, Thursday, at 9 a.m.